So this is the discourse on the breathing meditation, mindfulness of the breathing. According to the Buddhist practice, divided into 16 stages. Okay, and within that 16 stages, again, 32 insights here. So 16 divided by 2, so that's 32 stages. And once we have understood 32 insights, then one will be able to understand all the 4 foundations of a mindfulness. Right? So that 4 foundations of a mindfulness basically means ability to understand our physical body, or the contemplation on the physicality, and feeling, and the mind, and the phenomena. Right? So that's the concept. Now, so far we have covered the 4 tetras, and last week I did mention a little bit on the 5th one. When I was reflecting on that, then I missed quite a few things on the 4 tetras as well. Okay, so that's why I thought I will go back to cover on that aspects. So there's 4 tetras, that's the Dirghang va asasanto, Dirghang asasami. Long breath, you know that I am breathing long. Short breath, I am breathing short breath. And then the third one is understanding the entire breath, body and flesh body. And the 4th one is tranquilizing the breath and the body. So among these 4, basically known as the contemplation of the body. Contemplation of the body. Now, if we go through each, and that's why my reflection talk and also guided meditation was based on that. Okay, based on that 4 tetras, and the reason is simply to take you through the process that after we have arrived the 4th tetra, we're supposed to have one nimitta, or one object now firmly established. Okay? And that's, let's say, have in your breath, okay, in the nose. So this is the area of the breath that we have developed that. So here, if we haven't developed that, the focus point, then it is always like easy to be fall into the sensual pleasures. Easy to be go into, our mind will be swayed by the things that comes to contact with our senses. And when mind swayed by the contact that comes to comes to contact with the senses, and that swaying simply because our mindfulness is not strongly established. And the reason we cannot establish because we haven't developed this object as per se. So that's why this object is so important, that we have to develop on that. And once we have developed that, what happens is, so in that development, we have to think of 3 things. So that's called cultivation, development, and maintaining. A cultivation is basically cultivating that we have developed this focus attention on that particular object. So we have developed this object. So this is there, and as soon as we close our eyes, we're able to enter. So able to settle our mind on that object without any distractions. Okay? So without any distraction, doesn't matter how long. So the longevity comes with the practice. And the more we practice, then the long period of that ability to be on that object becomes longer. And not just ability to go into that object, but ability to come out and at any moment as well. So in your wish, you can come out from paying attention to that object. When we able to come out from there, and again in our own wish, what's happening here is that we able to go back at any moment as well. So yeah, so it's going back into that the object that we have concentrated on that. So that's why when our mind is settled in that moment, so we have developed this ability to go back at that object at any time, any moment. It's not just when we are sitting, but also in other time of like let's say when you're walking, ability to be there, or whenever you are standing to pay a bill, at that time also, rather than complaining the a lady at the tilt, so you're able to be mindful of yourself, like that. So these moments of our daily life, we can spend time on that object in our wish. And here in our wish, because we have to be aware of surroundings too. If we are not aware of the surroundings, what happens? Other people, those who are behind our line, will say, "Go ahead," or the lady at the tilt will say, "Come on in," and like that. So we have to break that concentration. So that is also needed in that process. Now, after we have developed in that state, again we have to maintain that, and that maintaining is the difficult one. That's why it doesn't matter, when we are changing our habit patterns or behaviors. Initially it's easy to change, right? And then we will spend some time to develop it. But maintaining that continuous process is not easy. It's very easy to be distracted by, let's say, all the senses or the worldly affairs. So that's why these three things we got to be very mindful of. Okay, and when we manage to cultivate, develop, and able to maintain our focus attention on the object that we have developed. So with that, as I mentioned last week, we have developed all the 5 factors. The faith, the confidence develops, and wisdom develops, and our energy. So these will be established there. When these established, these 5 factors been established properly, what happens that all the negativity has been subsided now. So positive energies or positive qualities develops. When these qualities, positive qualities develops, what happens that we gain at least of 4 benefits. Okay? So first benefit is we have this called we overcome the discontentment and a desire from the physical aspect. Okay, so we become very discontent if we are not mindful enough because of the influence from the senses. What happens? We don't want to have this space, or whenever we go into, suppose we go into some places, then we feel, oh, this is so dirty. So there is a discontentment is there, and you have a desire, wish I could have a nice sofa, right? So this discontentment we will be able to overcome. Now you have to check yourself whether you have overcome that or not. So that's the first benefit you can check from the practice of this body contemplation within these 4 tetras. After we have practiced these 4 tetras, so checking whenever you are going somewhere and you see the situation, checking that do you have this discontentment with the situation that you are in, and you have a desire of something, replacing the existing condition. So basically that is, again, you're going back into your desires, your perceptions, right? And with that desire, what happens? Rather than having a peaceful and happy, you are developing the conflict. And not only conflict with the situation or the place that you are in, you will be thinking of the person who is looking after. Or let's say you're coming in here, oh, this place is so dirty. Achan, what you've been doing? You are not looking after at all. Like that. So you passed on not only the place but also towards a person who is looking after. So with that, you develop furthermore unwholesome mental qualities. Okay. Now, when you develop that mental unwholesome mental qualities, what happens? You will be picking like, oh, this is so dirty. I don't want to be here. I need somewhere. So you look for something else. Alright? And here, if you have these mental states are still there, then you haven't developed properly. Your qualities are not developed yet. Although it doesn't matter how many years you've been practicing meditation, you haven't changed. You haven't changed your behavior. You haven't changed your views. And that's simply because you haven't fully cultivated your mindfulness. Forget about development and maintaining. You haven't cultivated it. And the reason you can't cultivate because you are still under the influence of this six senses and that coming into your contact. And that is based on your views, your perceptions, and then your desire. So with that, you cannot free. So that's the same, it's like coming back to the story of Venerable Meghiya, the attendants of the Buddha, looking for something better than what he was on this impression of his own view. So that's why it's very important to understand that. So if we have excelled these four tetras, then the first benefit is that ability to overcome this discontentment and desire. And this is very important. This is very important. And once we have overcome this, what happens that the second benefit is fear and dread. So where is the cause of this fear and dread? That's simply coming from the desire. Right? So you have a fear and you have a dread. Fear of this is not happening, that is not happening, why it is happening. So that's coming from the desire. And then a feeling of a dreadfulness, oh, I shouldn't have done that one. But I have done this one because I want it. So it's like a Meghiya going into the forest, right? Like that. And there are quite a lot of people, those who practice meditation, they do have that concept as well. That's following, okay, this want to do something but not able to do it. And then feeling, oh, something wrong, and fear. And then with that fear, mentally what's happening, the dreadfulness comes into your heart. So this is again, that actually what's called increases the unwholesome mental qualities now. And you cannot be happy. So that's why if we have fully understood this first four tetras, the practice of a bodily contemplation, then the second one, there will be no fear. There will be no dreadful moments at all. So this fear here, now this will link to the third one, that ability to overcome this endurance. Endurance of physical and also inner and outer physical pains or difficulties. So normally someone who is not practicing meditation, even the slightest things will beginning to develop the complaint. Like cold, the heat or the sun, too much sun, cannot endure, or too much walking, or too much doing things, or somebody does something and then you feel little pain, then again you cannot endure, because you are not mindful, because you're taking those pains or those feelings, taking into yourself that this is me, that's I am experiencing, and this experience is mine, and this experience is me. So having that concept, then we cannot endure, and we always we look for something replacing, and again under the desire now, sensual pleasure. And so we're going back to the sensual pleasure again. So we want to have comfortable, okay? And we cannot enjoy, even like a meditation for sometimes, and you feel pain here, pain in your back, and then, oh, I need to change, right? Like that. And then what happens? As soon as you change, you are not developing. You're simply under the influence of the sensual pleasure. So you are feeding the appetite of this desire. So a desire just having, the moment when you sit down and, oh, this is not good, you better do something else. And then because the mind is not fully developed, what happens? We simply go and do it straight away. We simply do. And then with that, mind becomes so clever now that whenever we want to do something, it simply do something else. Giving something pleasurable sounds to be pleasurable. Giving it to do, and then we straight away go and do it. Whereas when we are practicing this, the contemplation of these body contemplation, and basically the 4 tetras, what happens is that we will test ourselves that how much I can endure. Suppose we have pain, how much I can endure. And this pain, from outside pain, normally it goes into inside. It's not a physical pain, it's becomes the mental pain. And that moment, ability to understand that how intensified this pain now. And with that, actually, oftentimes when we are not meditate, or someone who never practiced meditation, whatever, even the slightest pain, it becomes the verbal pain, and then speaking out loud, and that's why the result of that is the result of creating angry and conflicts in people as well. Whereas a person who has practiced and developed ability to maintain that awareness, and then watching that pain, right? And that won't go into the essential pleasure. And with that not going into the sensual pleasure, that also we will not be reacting towards liking or disliking. Okay? So that becomes a neutral. And this is also very important too. And that's the third one that we will be able to gain the benefit of it. We will be able to enjoy in every situation and keep the mind in a very stable. There will be less complaint about the environment, about the situation, about other people. Okay? So now here again, you can check yourself how much endurance do you have. After practicing this, how much endurance do you have? How developed, so forget about the maintaining. If you can maintain that, then it would be even better. So this is also known as the qualities that makes you beautiful. They're called sobhana chetasikas, right? So that's making you to be beautiful. So that means you are not shaken by any situation, but you're able to maintain your awareness and keep yourself safe. So not hindered or not influenced by any sensual pleasure. Here means sensual pleasure here basically means the eye sees, ear hears, nose, tongue and body coming into contact with the outer world. So with that, what happens is that we are not having conflict with the outer world. We just take it as they are. And this is just whether we like it or not, that is how it is. We have no power to change their behavior or the nature. We have no power over them at all. So what we have is to be able to maintain ourselves. So that's why it is called the sobhana dhammas. Sobhana chetasika dhammas. So you able to maintain yourself in every situation perfectly, or basically able to smile. Doesn't matter which situation you are in. So if you can smile, then that's a good. So that's called endurance. Okay, and this you can check yourself. Especially you're working with so many people, right? You have to deal with so many people, so many situations. In those cases, whether when things happens, can you endure? Okay, physically and also emotionally. That's called outside and inside. Whenever things coming from outside influence us, and if we cannot we cannot be mindful of that, then that influences us, and then that aggravates. So this also needs to be mindful of that too, and that's why it's coming. If you go back, then that will be the sankharas, the formations. We are forming again and again on the basis of the sanya, the perception that we have, the knowledge that we have, and we do not like that. And then when this situation comes, that happens, and then we want to do something, we react something, and that reaction comes to be in that way. So check yourself, and if you can endure in a situations, then that's something is getting there. Okay, so in that endurance time, making sure that there's two things happens. One is you are influenced by the situation or the events, or as soon as you recognize that and you maintain your calmness there and mindful of that situation and able to come back to the sign, the object of meditation. Right? So that's why this development of this object is so important, so that you can go up and understanding further on. Okay, which one was taking on? The third one, right? And then after that, okay, so after that is the maintaining part, which actually coming together from the last week and also this as well, that maintaining that your mind is able to be with the breath. Okay? So, because we are practicing breathing at the moment, so with the breath that we have developed a certain place. So that's the nimitta, the object of meditation, which we are thinking of, the entrance, the nostrils. And here, if we have overcome these stages that I have mentioned, then that means we able to be with that, this entrance, the breath, very firmly. Okay? And our mind is not distracted at all. Okay? Our mind is not distracted. In that case, we have overcome this sensual pleasure, okay? All the 5 hindrances, we have overcome that one, and then our senses are completely shut down. Okay? So eye basically shut down while we are sitting meditation. The hearing, the ears also shut down. We will not hear anything. Okay? Although sometimes you may hear it, but you will not notice that hearing. So it's just like a fuzz noise, fuzzing noise. Okay? And that will happen. So the noise simply disappears, and then smell obviously no, and taste obviously no. Okay? And another one is the body. Okay? So that moment also body simply kind of disappeared. So you will not feel the body at all. And this is again the case that sometimes people think, where is my body? And then start to open eyes or move your hands and to check whether I'm still alive. Okay, so that is also possible. Okay, and this will happen when this happens. Now on is known as that your mind is fully absorbed. Okay, so that's the stage of attaining the absorption. Okay? So attaining the absorption. Here, your mind is completely settled or having a one pointed with the breath, undistracted. Right? So it's not distracted at all. And then in the same time, there is ability to hang on with it as long as you want, and you can leave as soon as you want, and then there is like a going in and emerging without any problem. So that moment arises, then what happens that then you feel so joy, and so that's what it's called, a rapture arises. You're feeling like rapture. And this moment, again, I did mention last week that sometimes you may have experienced as well, like some kind of a little insect crawling in your face, feeling of lightness, feeling of expansion of your body, or contraction of making it small, or feeling like, oh, what a wonderful, and sometimes you may feel the lights, and sometimes you may feel, and this is actually further on, actually, have you ever felt the like a light or open in your heart when you're practicing? Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lynn, obviously, yeah. So that also appears, and this openness and this light that you experience in your heart is actually very crucial to further development. And that's very crucial. And this actually the sign, right? The sign that, okay, this meditation is really helping. And that's how, when you see that light or this colors or this different the kinds of things, experience that, then somehow not only the joy, but you will also have a happiness. So wow, it's so good. And then with that, what happens further, that okay, now I need to practice more. So this energy comes in, and want to practice, the mind becomes fully absorbed in that object. So this also comes. Okay? So these are the at least four benefits you have to check, and then you have to check that these four things, whether you have managed to notice and recognize in your daily routine. And then that means these four tetras are working. Right? And then you have experienced this at least of a certain degree of a light or color, or the disappearance of your body, or some animal crawling, or kind of a showering, or like the goosebumps coming up, like that. Then after that, then we can move on to the Vedana, the feeling. Okay, so that was, I felt like I didn't cover last week. So now after we have covered it, I think following week we'll be going into the further next chapter, next tretra, which is the contemplation on feeling. Right? So I think with this I will end here for today's this explanation. And if you have any questions, you may ask.
Yeah, you talked about 5 factors I missed.
So there's 5 factors that is I explained last week. That is the confidence, energy, mindfulness, and concentration, and wisdom. So with the practice, you will gain the confidence in the practice that it works. Okay, and with that you are gaining the knowledge that okay, this meditation is helping and this works. So with that, gaining this wisdom, you will put more effort, and with adding more effort to practice, so basically you're adding more practice to pay attention to the breath. With that, your concentration develops, and with that development of concentration, so mindfulness becomes strong and firmly established.
Thank you very much.